Here at the Labor Coalition, we are tired of hearing how global agreements like the China Free Trade Deal and the TPP are good for us. Both sides of government seem hell-bent on destroying working families via job cuts, foreign ownership, tariff-free imports and 457 visas. Take the automotive industry. It ends in 2017 and around 200,000 workers will be unemployed. Now the Liberals attack the auto industry as parasites, small-minded Liberals with no vision like George Christensen.
But I've got to say that I'm not a fan of what they've done. I mean, they have been almost a parasitic industry on the taxpayer, and you know, when the going has got tough, they've cut and run, and they've left workers in the lurch. I mean, the Labor Party's blaming the government, but who's pointed the finger at the car industry and said, you guys have mooched off the taxpayer with corporate welfare for so long, and when the going got tough, you cut and run and you've left so many workers in the lurch. I think that General Motors, Ford, Toyota, they've all got a lot to answer for, and quite frankly, it'd be nice to see some of the recent investment that was put in by the taxpayers paid back now that they're going.
Now, the LNP killed an industry that employs hundreds of thousands of Australians, and sadly that industry and its workers were seen as disposable by Tony Abbott. And frankly, the ALP said very little about it as they rolled over in surrender.
By the end of 2017, Holdens will no longer be made in Australia. Nearly 3,000 direct jobs will go, but up to 200,000 jobs in wider support industries are now said to be at risk. Just yesterday, the federal government signalled there would be no more taxpayer funding for Holden, the Treasurer challenging the company to make its intentions plain.
Either you're here or you're not.
Killing manufacturing, it's a great plan, because as we know, there are ample jobs for everybody right across Australia. Now, many will say car sales weren't profitable. Well, we say that's a lie that was designed to get what the Liberals wanted. Stage one of Australia's sell-off, because as usual, Joe Hockey's figures simply did not ring true.
From 2001 to 2012, Holden generated $32.7 billion of economic activity in Australia and paid $21 billion to other businesses in Australia. During that period, Holden received $1.8 billion in Commonwealth Government assistance. Does the Treasurer consider an 18-to-1 a good return on investment?
I'd say to the Leader of the Opposition, put Australia first, put the workers first, join with the Acting Prime Minister and the Government in calling on Holden to come clean with the Australian people about their intentions here, right?
Hockey claimed that $500 million or $1 billion was going to be too much to pay on an investment that returned a ratio of 18-to-1. Now, according to Abbott and Hockey, this closure is good economics and responsible government. Well, no, it's not. It's stupid, it's reckless, and it's deliberate. This was designed to weaken our industries, destroy the unions, lower wages, and decrease our standard of living. Also, that big business can stuff its pockets via cheap imports, no overheads, and 457 workers. Meanwhile, the new beige ALP worries about big ticket items and party sponsors and their own agendas, not the working families that actually built and sustained this nation. Now, it's time Australians accept one very simple fact. If we don't manufacture or produce locally, we don't employ locals. And if we don't employ locals, there's limited jobs and income. And if we don't have jobs and income, then our businesses and local tourism will slowly fail and eventually die, because broke customers are no customers at all. Manufacturing is now less than 9% of GDP. It was once as high as 27%, but free trade has been the death knell for far too many industries in Australia. And if you'd like an example, I suggest you find an old steel worker from Newcastle and have him tell you all about it. So let's tell the government that foreign ownership, cheap imports and 457 workers are absolutely not acceptable to Australians. Because with over 700,000 unemployed, there is no reason for any Australian to ever see job ads like this anywhere. And don't get us started on this particular one. This is blatant government-approved throat cutting of Australian workers by global groups. Australia needs new industries, new innovation and future development to create jobs. But clearly we're going to need to fight for it. Because when our government starts selling off our country, that's when you know they've given up on us, the Australian people. And that's a fact. Well, we haven't given up and we won't. So help us demand a fair go and protection for Australian workers and their families so that they get to come first. Because no government should ever be permitted to slap a price tag on our future and call for the cheapest bidder in a global clearance sale. Down below is a link to our party page. And if you're tired of being told what you can have instead of being asked what you really need, then join the Labor Coalition, get a real voice and help us fight for what's right and what's fair. Thank you.